Everyone. A Growing Culture is a nonprofit organization advancing a culture of farmer autonomy and agroecological innovation. We thank you for joining us today. And now you'll be hearing a few words from the founder of AGC, Lauren Cardelli.
Thank you everyone for joining us. It is an honor to be sharing the stage today with Jo Jandai and Tasch. AGC founded 10 years ago, and we took off on a journey around the world, trying to learn and study from farmers who have been supporting their communities without extracting resources, building their soil, building the resources for their community, supporting them without degrading the land. We traveled all over the world looking for these farmers, for these indigenous and peasant communities. We wanted to learn from them. Jo Jandai was one of the very first farmers that we came across. Jo is a legend of all, in all ways. He spearheaded this and co-founded the Pun Pun farm in Thailand, where it was this like magnetic energy. People from around the world would come right there to learn from this man. I mean, it was incredible. The community that he cultivated, the people that were working there. I mean, this was like the most education and inspirational place I'd ever been. And coming across Jo in the very beginning of this journey was something that was so important to the lessons and philosophies that AGC has cultivated over the years. Because of those experiences, we understood that seed sovereignty is the start of all food sovereignty. We understood about community resilience and the role that agriculture plays in not just supporting an environment, but fostering a community and a culture. I cannot be more excited today to come full circle 10 years later and be introducing such an inspiration. It's just a really emotional moment. I mean, I'm really grateful for that. And we've come a long way as an organization, and to see what Jo is doing right now is so incredible and inspiration. I can't believe his ability to grassroots fundraise, to launch a program, not only for the individual, for the community, and for the nation. And they're so exciting to bring Tasch here to be part of this dialogue, as Woody has huge history in financing, in revolutionizing financing. He is the founder and chairman of Soul Money Institute and author of Soil, Notes Toward the Theory and Practice of Nurture Capital, right? Since 2010, dozens of local slow money networks and investment clubs have catalyzed the flow of more than $56 million into programs around the world. This is an incredible opportunity to learn from two leaders of the movement, to understand that through financial liberation, we can fundraise and build a better future for all of us. So I want to introduce Woody to start off the session, and it is a great opportunity. Thank you, Woody.
All right, thanks, Lauren. Good morning, good evening. Hi, Jo. So I'm kind of with everybody else on this call. This is my first introduction to Jo. I mean, we said hello to each other a few weeks ago just in preparation for this, but so I'm looking forward, as all of you are, to hearing his story. And as Lauren said, I run a little thing called Slow Money. Well, I'm not sure I run it exactly. It runs me. We have a network of people, mostly in the U.S., but a little bit in Australia, a little bit in France and Canada. But the spirit of what we're doing is, in our way, I think akin to what Jo is doing, but of course I'll know that better after the next hour. We're supporting small scale, appropriate scale, organic and regenerative farms and local food systems. And we're doing it by organizing small groups of local investors to support the farms near where they live. And Lauren said 56 million. It's now 70. I'm not sure when he got that number off of where, but it's now it's over 75 million. We're at 10 years old, but it's lots of small investments. It's thousands and thousands of people involved around the country and doing lots of small investments, all in the same spirit of what Jo is doing at Pun Pun. Really putting diversity first, putting community first. And I guess all I want to say in addition to that is that at this moment, because of the pandemic and because of what we're all of the questions about globalization that are we're all struggling with right now, and along with it, populism and civil rights and all the rest. That maybe before this moment happened, there was kind of a general tendency to rely on technology to solve all of our problems, right? Silicon Valley was going to come to the rescue. Maybe it was also creating the problems, but it was also somehow going to solve the problems. And obviously, I think most of us on this call today are here because we believe or feel strongly that lots of small, diverse solutions that connect us to one another and to the land is at least as important as all the technological solutions, at least as important, maybe actually way more important. So with that, Jo, it's my honor to introduce you today. I'll just be playing a very gentle moderating role. This is really all about Jo and Pun Pun, and I'll just field a few questions towards the end with the help of Lauren and Julia. So take it away, Jo.
Hello. The voice disappeared.
Jo, are you there?
Yeah, but I cannot hear you. Hello?
Oh, well, that's okay. I hope someone heard what I said, but if you didn't, it's not important. Take it away.
Okay. Can you hear me? It seems like
Yes,
the sound is not very stable. So I think I want to talk about the Pun Pun a little bit in the beginning. When we start Pun Pun in the beginning, we did not think about to be a community. We just think about to have a place to do seed saving. Because we think seeds disappear from the world every day, never come back. But nobody think about that. Not many people think about that much. So we think about to do seed saving. And when we got the piece of land, we expect to live, maybe 2 or 3 people live together. But when we start the farm, more and more people come to visit us. And then many of them don't want to leave. And in only 1 month, we have more than 7 people come to be together. And after that, we have more and more people come. And many people want to stay longer and longer. It turned to be unintentional communities after that. So when we have communities, we think about most of people came to this place just want to learn. So we think about to change our place into a learning center too. But the meaning of learning center is learning to how to make our life easy. Because most of people have a very complicated life. They just want to find a way to make life easy. So we start to learn how to be self-reliant, because we cannot have an easy life if we cannot rely on ourselves. We cannot be happy if we cannot rely on ourselves. We cannot be independent. So we learn how to rely on ourselves in the 4 basic needs. The first thing is food. Food is very important thing. So we need to save our own seed. We need to grow our own food. And then we learn how to grow food by decreased investment, increased yield with no chemical. So that's the idea of food for us. So we learn how to collect more seed, local seed, and then bring back to our life. And we learn how to do shelter, housing. It have to be easy for everybody. We think it's not normal that human cannot have a house easily now, because it used to be easy for many, many hundred years. But now when we develop so much, why we cannot have a house? And the third thing we need to learn is how to make our own daily needs. Soap, shampoo, sauce, and everything that we use often, toothpaste, something like that. It's so easy to make it. Why we have to buy it so often? So we spend so much money for container of those products because the container costs more expensive than the product that we want. So when we learn to do ourselves, it makes it a lot cheaper and decrease a lot of garbage in our life. And the last thing we need to learn is about healing, self-healing, because we need to learn about how to help ourselves when we get sick. So this is the basic thing that we need to learn at Pan Pan. So we learn how to be together. We learn how to live together. And we experiment to live together with no leader, with no management. And it works so well in 17 years, we never have conflict in our communities. People live together, work together, sharing everything together. Nobody own anything, everything become community, belong to communities, belong to everybody. So when we have kids, when we have children, everybody help each other. So we feel very relaxed. We feel very good to be together in this way. So this is the Pan Pan look like. So we work together, eat together, and then we don't have private money much. We use community fund in the community a lot. And after that, last year, we think about to start a new thing bigger. Now we start a company we call Tam Thurakit company. It means fair business. We join with another friend. There's two guys. One guy, he's a businessman, and then he want to help farmer. And he think about normal business is just work so much, make people so crazy, have a lot of competition. How can we make business easy for everybody? And another guy who used to work with King Bhumibol, the past king, he's very good about sufficiency economy. He trained so many people in the country to be self-sufficiency. So three of us come together and we talk about how can we design a new business that make everybody feel relaxed and benefit to everybody. So we start this business 7 years ago, this company. And then we use a lot of training technique to train people to understand the idea. So many people will come to the training, and then we will, in the training, we talk about how to do business fair for everybody. So we train farmer to do farming, decrease investment, increase yield with no chemical, and train them how to design their land to not grow cash crop anymore. We need to grow for themselves first. They need to have food to eat first. Leftover, they can sell. This is the idea. And then in the same time, the consumer come to the training and they start to connect it with farmer. So people start to know each other more and more and more. Then we start the business. We buy the leftover produce from farmer and we sell in the city in the fair price. The farmer get a very good price and the consumer get cheaper price than normal, because organic food is very expensive. But we want to make organic food the same price or as close as to the price of chemical food. That's the aim. So far, we have about 6,000 people bought the share from our company. And then this year, this company raised fund about $5 million to buy a resort. So we want to change this resort into a learning center and then change the resort into the sustainable resource. So we want to grow more thing here to show people that business, we don't need to compete a lot. To do this way, we don't need to worry about competition because producer is in the company and consumer are in the company too. So everybody who in the circle of business, we are in the same family. That's why we don't need to compete with anybody. So this way we relax a lot. So when we raise fund to buy this resort, we did not borrow money from the bank, but we borrow money from our member, from people who know us. Because we think if we can be independent from the bank system, we will have more freedom. We can be ourselves more. So now we have a farmer market in Bangkok, and then we have a resort here. We start to have a frozen fish in the online market. We have a few restaurants opening soon now. So it's quite fun and relaxed to work together because this company, there's not a lot of staff because we use a lot of volunteer to work together. So far, we have no big problem. We happy, we learn a lot. So we still learning. This is what we are doing so far.
Thank you, Joe. Can you hear me? Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, yes, better.
All right, good. I'll hold the phone. By the way, I didn't tell everybody I'm on satellite, and so I called in on a phone landline, so that's why I'm holding the phone, just to make sure we have a minimum disruption. So, Joe, when we talked the first time, I kind of joked quickly. I don't know if you heard me, but I said, I was worried that you were making your life kind of complicated for a guy who likes simple. I still have the same reaction today when I hear how much money you've raised and you're buying the resort and whatnot. But I'd love to talk to some more about that financing that you just did, where we raised those millions of dollars and whatnot. But before we go there, can you just go back a little bit and just tell us a little more about Pun Pun, about the farm itself, because that's where the vision originated, right? That's where you're holding the vision the strongest. Yeah. So just say a little bit more about about the farm itself, what you're growing, the size of the farm, anything else you want to tell us, what the name Pun Pun means, all of that. Just give us more of a feel.
Okay. Pun Pun means 1,000 varieties. In the beginning, we don't think about to have a name, but when more people come, so we start to think about to have a name. It means 1,000 varieties, mean many things mixed together. And then the main aim of Pun Pun is to do seed saving. We grow many varieties of vegetable and save seeds. And to save seed, we don't save like normal people. We try to give away seed as much as we can. So every year we produce a lot of seeds, different kind of seeds, and then we give for free to people. So people send letters to us every day, many hundred letters per day, every day so far. So we give free seed, whatever they want it, if we have. They send letters to us, we send back to them. So that's the main aim of Pun Pun, because we think seed is the most important thing in our life. So we want to focus on seed saving. But when more people come, we think about the second aim of Pun Pun is to be learning center. Learning center is at the beginning, it means only it's the center for us to learn how to make life less complication. How can we live easily? How can we be happy? How can we enjoy our life more? So that's the main aim of Pun Pun. So we experiment a lot. Experiment how to be together because we were disconnected for a long time. So now it's very hard for people to live together. Even in the family, parents cannot talk with the kid, or some people when they're married, they cannot get along well because we don't know, we never learn how to be together anymore because they want us to be disconnected. When we disconnected, we don't feel secure. And then we need to work a lot. But when we learn how to be together, the first thing that we did to learn to be together is we try to not have rule or discipline in the communities. So people live together with no rules, no leader. That's our experiment. Because we found that when we have rules, people start to try to break the rules. But if we have no rules, nobody gonna break the rules. So that's easy for us. And then people feel they feel independent. They can do what they want to do. They'll experiment what they want to experiment. So that creates more leaders in the communities. And in the same time, we don't have a leader, because when we have a leader, every problem will go to the leader. So when we have no leader, everybody turn to a leader. So that's very relaxed for us to live together. Everybody can solve the problem, can make decision, can do things easily. So after 17 years, we feel very relaxed to have community like this. And after that, I think this is a good way to develop the management without managing. So we experiment to open a restaurant in Chiang Mai, a small restaurant, and we have 5-6 staff there. And then we let them run everything themselves without leader, without management in that restaurant. And it worked well so far, more than 5 years. It's still working now. I think we can make business easy and fun like this. We can design many things to make it fun and easy too. That's why we exciting a lot about doing things more and more, experiment new things more and more. This is a Pan means, it means a place where people come and experiment a lot of things that you want to do.
That raises so many questions for me, not the least of which is, how did your parents raise you?
I grew up.
I'm biting my tongue because, you know, living in the U.S. right now, where the word is extremely complicated, and you opposite. You know, you. So I'm not going to say more about that at the moment. But can you just say a little more about, like, what? Maybe you said this at the beginning. What were you doing before you went to Pan Pan? Like, just take us right to the beginning, like when you found the farm, or when you first started there.
Before that, I used to work in Bangkok for 7 years. I thought at that time that I cannot live in Bangkok anymore, because the city life is not for human, it's for robot. So when you live in the city, you cannot be human. You cannot think about love. You cannot think about freedom. You cannot think about happiness. You can think only working and make money, working and make money. It's like a machine. So I think I cannot live like this anymore. So I quit my job and went back to the village. And then in the village, I start to do farming. I think humans should not be hungry, because we live in the most fertile planet in the universe. How can we hungry in the middle of fertilities? So I experiment to make a small garden, and I grow more than 50 varieties in small area. I spend only 15 minutes per day to water the garden, and then I have enough food to feed 6 people. So I think why I'm so stupid to work in Bangkok for 7 years. I work more than 8 hours per day every day, but never have enough food to feed only one person. But when I went back to the land, to the farm, I work less than 1 hour, but I can feed 6 people. And I can have saving after that. And then after I work in the garden, small garden, about 2 acres, and only 4 years, I saved enough money to buy a piece of land in Chiang Mai. I think life is so easy. Why do we design our life so complicated? And then after that, I think about, at that time, I start to do earthen building in Thailand. And it's so popular. Many people want to learn earthen building. So I traveled for 3 years everywhere in Thailand to teaching earthen building. But after that, I think earthen building is so simple and easy. Even 9 years old boy can build a house. I want to stop building because it's so easy. But the most important thing is food. Food is come from seeds. The seed disappear from the world every day. But not many people think about it much. So I want to spend the rest of my life to do seed saving. That's why I decide to buy a piece of land in the northern of Thailand and start Pan there to do seed saving center there.
Along the way, were you inspired? Everything you said so far is about coming from within you, basically. It sounds like, in other words, you were listening to your heart and following yourself, and trying to be true to yourself. Were there any outside inspirations? I'm thinking of the obvious people like Fukuoka and Vanda Nish. I mean, there are obvious people that would leap to people's minds in hearing your story. But I'm curious to hear from you.
In the last 25, 26 years ago, we have no internet at that time. So the information that I got from outside is only the One Straw Revolution of Fukuoka. So that's only one book that I got. But we have a lot of idea of the past king about self-sufficiency. So the king Bhumibol, he has the theory he called new theory of farming. He talked about how to design the farm, talk about how to develop the soil, how to store the water, how to have diversity of plant in the land, to be self-reliant. So that thing mixed together a lot. King Bhumibol and Fukuoka helped me to think about, this is the solution. I need to try this. We cannot stay in the same way anymore. It's not very fun to work that much, but with nothing return. So when I experiment with the theory and implement everything together, and it worked well. So I think that's the main thing that I learned. It's from sufficiency economy system and One Straw Revolution from Masanobu Fukuoka.
I'm just curious. Have you ever been to the U.S.?
Yeah, I've been to the U.S. long time ago. That's the first time I visit Taos Pueblo. That's the first time I saw earthen building. I have a bike trip to New Mexico to Taos Pueblo. I visit that place about 15 minutes or half an hour, something like that. That inspired me a lot. And then I just want to come back to Thailand. I want to start to do earthen building. So I started the first earthen building in Thailand when I came back home at that time. So I used to have a chance to be in the US for 2 years at that time. But I think America is hard to live there because you have no freedom there. Because this country, you have only freedom to make money, but you cannot have freedom to be happy, to live in a simple way. So I don't think I can live there permanently.
You do know that you happen to visit the craziest place in the United States, don't you?
The first time I lived in Eugene, Oregon.
Oh, okay, good. So listen, I was asking you about the U.S. because I was curious how many farmers you met with when you were here, and how did you get a feel for how people, the farmers in the U.S. who were trying to do small scale, diverse, organic and regenerative farming while you were here?
Yeah, I met a few farmers, but what I learned from there is small farmer is very hard to survive because the system does not allow small people to grow. So you need to be big. You need to invest a lot of money. But for me, I think it's farming. If we invest more money, you will have more debt because everything the cost of farming always, everything, the price rise up all the time, but the price of farmer products always going down. So to invest a lot of money in farming is very hard to survive. So I think the American style of farming is not fit with Thai people at all, because they use a lot of technology. They use a lot of big machine, they use a lot of fertilizer and use expensive seeds. Everything expensive, but the price of the products going down a lot. That's what I learned from there. And then small farmer is hard to survive because you have to compete a lot. It's hard to find the market. You cannot sell like in Thailand, you can sell everywhere on the street. You can sell in a farmer market easily. But in America, it's so hard.
Say a little bit more about how Pun Pun, how unusual is Pun Pun in Thailand? So we all understand that the U.S. is all the way at one end of the extreme, let's say, right, of industrialization and consumerism and et cetera. So tell us, for those of us who don't live in Thailand, or those of us from the West who are on the call, tell us a little bit about what the local food economy is like around Pun Pun, and how do you fit into the farming community there?
I think in Thailand it's similar. In Thailand, it's going the same way with the US, because everything is similar. We copy everything from the US now in Thailand. So Pun Pun is become like a black sheep. We are so different from many people. But we are totally different from normal farmer, because we don't do cash crop. We don't use a lot of money. We don't invest a lot of money in farming. We try to think about self-reliance first. We need to grow enough for ourselves first. Leftover we can sell. That's the idea. If we do like this, we survive. So not many people interested in what we are doing in the beginning, but later on, and after 6 years, 7 years, more and more people interested about what we are doing, because the economic system pressed people more and more. And then people came to the training more and more. And now after the crisis from the virus, coronavirus crisis, it draw a lot of people come to us now, because this is the way we can survive. This is the way we can enjoy our life more, because we never get hurt from the crisis. Many people in the city, many people who have a lot of money, they don't have anything to eat because they just rely on money. But we rely on ourselves quite a lot. Rely on ourselves means rely on each other too. We have quite a lot of network. So when many people don't have anything, but we still have a lot of food to eat. We have a lot of things. We have food, we have water, we have friend, we have everything that we need. So I think self-reliance is a thing that start to grow very quick in Thailand now. And more people who left Bangkok during the crisis, I think more than 20% of them will not go back to Bangkok anymore. Because when they come back to the farm, to the land, they discover that life is so easy. I can eat a lot. I can have a lot of food from the land. Why I have to go back again? So now we start with next month, we're gonna start to have the training again. And then a lot of people contact us already. So this is the situation in Thailand.
Tell us a little more about the people who come. Tell us a little bit more about how many people are there right now. You're talking about a community, but just give us a sense of how many people are coming and going. And I don't know if you can describe a little bit about who they are. Maybe that's not as important as what they do when they're there. Tell us a little bit more about how the community works.
The community now, we have about 20 people stay permanently. And then we have like some group of people who just come and go, often about another 10 or 20 people who come and go. So in general, we will have about 30 people eating together every day. So it's like a party every day at the farm. So it's quite a lot of people all the time. And then the way it works is just, we just take turn. Everybody have to do the same. Everybody have to do everything. Even you never cook before, but when you stay there, you need to cook for 30 people at least. So you cook, and then you do gardening, you do milking, you take care of the chicken and catch fish or gardening. So it just take turn. We can take turn to do everything. So everybody can do everything. So that's why we don't need to have a meeting often. We don't like meeting, because meeting, every time when we have a meeting, it wastes a lot of coffee. I talk a lot and spend so much time. But when we start to do more, less talking, but do more, it's have more fun, and then people enjoy a lot. So now 20 people, that's the amount that we think is perfect. We don't want to have more than that. If we have more than that, we need to have more meeting. So we try to avoid meeting. So that helped a lot.
Oh dear. You know, I'm just thinking very wistfully of someone who spends his life talking and meeting and dealing with money. So some year when travel is possible again, maybe I can spend some time with you. That'd be fun.
Very welcome.
All right, why don't we, before we start taking questions from the participants, which have been being collected, why don't we go back to the larger financial question, which you mentioned in your opening remarks about the resort you bought and how you finance that, because that is you're going to have to work hard to convince me that that's not complicated. I'm just saying. But the idea of raising millions of dollars from a larger group of people and buying a new property and converting it and whatnot, that's obviously a big departure for you, a big next step. So obviously for me, I'm most interested in the financial part only as a model. In other words, how you attracted all these new people. You said you knew a lot of them, but you obviously don't know everybody. So just talk a little bit about how that transaction came together and how it's working so far.
Yeah, we try to talk with people about the system that we have now, like normal economics way. So one family or one group of people, they set up a company, they make a big business, and all the money go to small group of people. So most of people will not get benefit from it. So we tell people that we need to design a new kind of business that the profit go to more people. So we think about if we come together and rely on each other more in financial way. So if people don't give a lot of money, they don't need to buy a lot of share. Maybe one share or two share. One share is about $3 or $4. So when they bought share, we don't want them to buy a lot, but we want many people to buy the share. So the money, if we have profit, the profit will spreading to many more people. So that's the idea. And then when we try to advertise, talk with people, do more advertise like this, more and more people interested about this new model that we want many people to come together and help each other. And then the business that we want to do, it have to be fair for everybody. And the business have to be good for environment, to the ecosystem, to everything. So many people bought share from us, but they did not expect to get the profit much. They just want to support the idea. They want to see new business that make the food circle fair for everybody. We want to have organic food, the same price with chemical food. We want to expand more land that can be organic land. We want to propagate more trees in the country. We want to have more clean water. So this is the information that we put it out and to people. And then most of people who bought the share, they know us before already what we are doing. We have been working on this thing for a long time. So they know what we are doing. So many people just support us very quick. In a few months, we got more than $5 million it's enough to buy the resort. So now we think about to expand more business about restaurant or think more to bring the good food to people more in bigger area, bigger scale. So I think because of trust, make people make decision to buy share from us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think I mentioned in my little opening. So one of the things that some of the slow money groups are doing now in the U.S. is we're making 0% loans. We're loaning money to the farmer with no intention of making money, but we do want the money to keep circulating in the community. So when the capital comes back, we'll re-lend it out to other farms. But it's similarly based on trust. And these are small groups of people. These are, you know, maybe 20 people, 40 people, 60 people in a community making loans to maybe a dozen farms. So it's very much in keeping with the spirit of what you're doing. What's the name of the resort? Isn't called Pun Pun, is it?
The resort name, the name of the resort is Chumpon Cabana. Chumpon Cabana
Just so people
is the resort.
And is it open yet? What stage is the project in?
It's not officially open, but we open for the member to come for right now, for people who know us to come. Because we have a driving learning center here. We have a learning center for self-reliant here. So next month, we're gonna open for learning center workshop. But scuba diving started this month already. So we start to have some people come in, and then the restaurant is not finished yet. It may be another 2 months, we maybe finish the restaurant. So we expect to have a grand opening in the next maybe 6 months. We will have the perfect to have a grand opening.
Great. And before we start taking questions from the attendees, which I think Julie and Lauren are going to come back on with those questions in a second. I think we can't stop this part of the thing without asking something about the COVID pandemic and whatnot. What's happening in Thailand? How much has the pandemic? Just say a few words about it. I mean, we're all dealing with the same thing all over the world, but.
I think the situation in Thailand is pretty good so far because we have no new patient in almost, I think, more than 1 month already. So now we control everything's pretty good, and then people behave pretty good. People protect themselves very well. They put masks everywhere mainly, and I think we will be okay soon. Yeah.
All right. Julie and Lauren, are you going to pop on with the questions from the attendees now? There they are. All right. So I think my job is just to read the questions right now. Julie and Lauren, tell me if you need me to do anything else. How did you work out the community share process for the resort, and how do you manage it?
The community share, they just bought the share with the company, and then we have a meeting, a big meeting together. What do we want to do? And after that, the team will work. We have the board to work together, and then we use a lot of volunteer to help. So most of people who bought the share, they will volunteer with us. Like if they are a lawyer, there will be a lawyer for us. If they are accounting, they will help about accounting here. We have a lot of architect or engineer to volunteer. So we have a lot of volunteer to work with the company. So that help us to decrease the expense a lot. So we get a lot of support from the communities, and everything is open. So community can know the situation in the company all the time. They can come and check anything anytime. So it's very open. So I think it's quite easy to manage in this way, because when you bought a share, you want to volunteer to help in any part of the business, you can come all the time. So that helped us a lot too.
Is there, so obviously you said the word lawyer. So obviously there are some of your members and friends are lawyers, and they helped you write the documents for this. Was there another model? Was there a model that they were copying from inside Thailand, or did you have to pretty much originate this whole thing yourself?
Just only in Thailand. We have every career, people from every career bought the share. So many of them just volunteer to help a lot.
This is from Melissa. Can you talk more about seed saving? How do you get your seeds? How do you get started?
The seed saving, because I did a lot of workshop all over the country. Everywhere I go, every workshop I will talk about seed saving. Even workshop about earthen building, but we have to talk about seed saving too. And then every time when we talk about seed saving, some old people will bring seed to me. They said, "Oh, I saved this seed for a long time." Or some people who have something good, they just give it to us. So we just bring to experiment to try to grow them again. And then if we think it's good, we start to give away to people. And then sometimes we networking with seed saver in many countries too, like in India, in the US, in many countries. We get seed from them. In many things, it disappeared from Thailand already. I need to get from another country. But the seed saving project for us, it doesn't mean we have to save in the refrigerators, save in the cold room, but we want to save in our life. So we bring the seed back, and then we grow, propagate them, and we try to give to people as much as we can. So it will be in people's life. And in the same time, we need to save the technique, how to use, how to eat the seed, that kind of plant also. Because many of them is poison. We don't know, if we don't know how to eat, we can get sick or die easily. So this kind of wisdom, this kind of knowledge will disappear if we don't save it. Because now so many people just eat a few variety of vegetable in the market, but they forgot the old vegetable that they used to eat in the past. So we need to bring it back. So saving seed for us, we need to save in our life and save the technique how to use, how to eat those plants also.
Okay, this question is from Prina, if I'm saying that right. Have you found that as you've expanded and done more, that word is off my screen, is it harder to live an uncomplicated, simple life? That's kind of what I was joking with you about.
Have you found that? Mainly, when we work on this way, it will make it easier and easier. So we don't think anything hard is a problem, because whatever is a big problem, we love to jump in, because if it's big problem, we learn more. We have more fun to face it, to deal with it. We learn more because we did not worry much about success or fail in what we are doing. We just focus on what did we learn from it. We focus on understanding from what we're doing more than success or fail. So when we think like this, I don't feel like it's hard, anything hard at all. I think every day is just like a boy or a kid. We just playing every day, play with everything. So to think in this way is a lot of fun. You have less fear. We have less fear to do anything that we want to do. Just do it. Just do it. As long as we learn, that's good. So to think in this way, we don't feel like anything is a problem or harder at all.
Kisha is asking, what were the major challenges you encountered when starting Pun Pun?
The major challenging is in the first time when we live there, we have more people want to come and stay with us. But the main problem is we have a lot of people who are like a drug addict, alcoholic, or mental problem want to come because many family, when their kids have problem like this, they want to push them away. So these people came to us quite often. So this is the main thing that we need to deal with it. And at the end, at the beginning, we did training for free for Thai people for 7 years. That's why there's so many people who become drug addict, who alcoholic or mental problem came. And then after that, we stopped doing free training. We charge money from them. So charging money, it helped to screen people who are very interested in what we are doing more. So these people come, it make everything so easy after that. So now we just enjoy training, enjoy working with people more and more. Because when we charge people, if they're not really into it, they will not come. So that helped a lot. So that's the main challenging that we have at the beginning. We have one thing is when we bought the land in the beginning, we have no money. People think it's a problem, but for us, when we have no money, it's the good luck. Because we can do more. We can learn more. If we have more money, we learn less because we're gonna buy everything. For example, like in the beginning, we have no food to eat. We need to eat banana tree for 3 months in a row. So people learn a lot how to cook banana tree every day, but not make the same dish every day. You make different kind of food from the same banana tree every day. So it's a new way of learning for us. So we learn a lot with less money.
This question is from Julia. What structures or ways of being must be nurtured for the way of co-ownership to function? How do you deal with, I'm missing one word here, it's behind my screen here, but how do you deal with disagreement?
Mainly we have a meeting. When we have the big thing to make decision together, we have a meeting. And then most of the problem been finished in the meeting. So in a meeting, when we have no leader, it helps a lot because in our culture, when we have leader, people don't want to talk much because they want to listen to the leader. The leader gonna solve the problem. But when we have no leader, people open more and they talk more, so they can solve the problem easily. And then one thing is when everybody have to do everything, everybody know everything, we have less disagreement. But whenever we devise job, if you do accounting, you do only accounting. If you cook, you only work in the kitchen. If you're a gardener, you work only in the garden. In this way, we will have a lot of disagreement problem. But when everybody have to do everything, we have less disagreement. Mainly people understand things together. That's why we don't need to have a meeting often because everybody know everything in the same level.
that is a beautiful vision of self-governance. It really is. I'm sure people who are listening to this from who aren't blessed to live near you are scratching their heads a little bit about how it works. It's kind of amazing to hear you. Okay, here's Natalia. Do you think there is a way to live easily in the city, if possible, find like-minded people and build self-reliant communities within the confines of concrete jungle? Great question.
I think it's possible to live easily in everywhere. The most important thing to make our life easy is to learn how to follow our consciousness more than emotion or feeling. This is the key word of it. Because our life is complicated because we follow feeling. Feeling is something not stable. It's up and down, like or don't like, like or don't like. That's the feeling. So most of the problem in our life because we follow the feeling. We feel like we like this car. We bought this car. Even it's not important. It's not necessary. But if we follow our consciousness is about reason. It's necessary, it's important. So if we follow consciousness, we decrease a lot of our expense in our life. For example, like if I walk to the department store, I saw the expensive clothes, they sell very cheap. So I think I have enough clothes, why do I need to buy more clothes? So I just walk away, because if I buy clothes, it's my feeling. I like it, so I buy it. But with consciousness, I think, oh, I have enough clothes already. Even it's very good clothes, even it's very cheap, I will not buy it because I have it enough already. So this is consciousness. So everywhere we are, if we not follow the feeling, we can live easy life everywhere. And then to live easy life, to be self-reliant, it means we need to rely on each other also. People who live in the city, they need to do what they love, but they need to connect it with farmer. So farmer who grow organic food, if we connect together, they can send organic food from their farm to us easily. So in Thailand now, many people start to do this. Because they live in the city, they are banker, they are business person. So they want to have a simple life, they want to have a good food. So they just connect with farmer directly. And then we send food together, we help each other more in this way. So in general, if we don't follow the fashion, if we don't follow our feeling much, we just rely on consciousness. Consciousness is about reason. Life will be easy immediately. Mainly, we just depend on emotion or feeling so too much. That's why it's too complicated.
While you were giving that answer, I was thinking about an essay that I read about 40 years ago, 45 years ago. In the book, it's a chapter in the book Small is Beautiful by E.F. Schumacher. And the name of the chapter is Buddhist Economics. And what's in that chapter, it's only about 10 pages long. And anybody who's listening to this conversation would probably enjoy reading that chapter in that book, because it's the thoughts of a Western industrial economist, E.F. Schumacher. He was a Rhodes Scholar, industrial economist from Britain, who then discovered Eastern religion and a different form of spirituality in the middle of his life. And then he wrote this one little 10-page chapter in his words saying what Jo just said, but using reason to kind of deconstruct Western economics and realize that it was making life way too consumerist, way too multiplying needs instead of simplifying, multiplying wants, if you will, instead of simplifying and seeing how we could reduce. I'm not even going to try to finish the rest of that paragraph because we don't have time, and I'm trying to condense too much. But I would just say, especially for the younger people who are on the call who would think that is out of date, it isn't. You should find that book and read that chapter, and it'll be very consistent with the beautiful stuff that Jo just shared with us. I think I'm just looking at the clock, so I'm kind of waiting for Lauren and Julia to jump in now. I think we're at the end of the call. Lauren, you're going to jump in?
Yeah, I am here. Man, this was just incredible. I mean, I hope that everybody who's listening was as inspired as I am, and I know Woody was as well. You know, when we first took off looking for, you know, and traveling around the world, you know, trying to find these farmers, you know, selfishly, we thought that we had so much to teach. And once you start, you know, that's why meeting Jo in the very beginning was like a flat boom, which was like, no. As an organization, we don't empower farmers, they empower us. It's incredible the amount of ingenuity that exists all over the world. It's time for organizations to reframe their way of working and tap into learning and listening from the grassroots. This is an incredible opportunity. I mean, this just shows that maybe when we're talking about scaling out interventions, we shouldn't scale out, you know, carbon building techniques or pest management. What we should be scaling out is agency, celebrating the unique individuals reshaping their food systems. This is incredible, and it's such an honor. Thank you, Woody. Thank you, Jo. This is a wonderful way to lead on to the weekend and give me enough time to just meditate on this, because there's so much to learn. Before I ask Jo and Woody for their closing statements, what I'd love to do is to say follow and support today's speakers. You know, Woody Tasch from soulmoney.org, Jo Jandai. It's punpunthailand.org. This is incredible, truly inspiring. Tune in next week, celebrating Black land ownership with Queen Quet of the Gullah Geechee Nation. Same time, same place. It's going to be an amazing talk. Please support the broadcast. You can text GROW to 850-600-2996 for a direct donate link, or you can go to growingculture.org/donate. Special thank you to our sponsors, Milgram and Dascom and Eat Your Way Clean. People that want to get involved, reach out. And as we wrap this up, I'd love to have closing statements from both of the speakers today. Could we start with Woody?
Oh dear, I think I'll just thank you two. Just real pleasure to spend some time together, get to know Jo a little bit, and just enjoy the beauty and I guess the word profundity seems to be suggesting itself to me of his message. So Jo, thank you so much. Hopefully we'll get to spend some time together in person someday. And Lauren, thanks for making this possible.
Thank you, Woody. Jo.
Yeah, thank you for organizing this talk. So the last thing I want to say is just we should not tolerate to suffering. If it's hard, it's too complicated. Why we have to be with it? We need to design a new way. Life is in our hand. Our life is very short. So don't be suffer and die. Just enjoy it and die is more fun. So if anybody want to see more technique, more idea about self-reliance, you can see my YouTube channel, Jo Jandai Life is Easy channel. I have more information there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jo. We will be sharing that channel on all of our social platforms and in a wrap-up email to the attendees. Thank you so much, Jo. I know it's late for you. So I just want everybody who's listening to understand that Jo stayed up extremely late to share this with us. So we should all be grateful for him, because not everything happens on American time, all right? So thank you guys. Tune in next week. It's been an ultimate pleasure. Love to everyone. Stay safe and enjoy the weekend.